There's a truth women never admit, a truth that haunts them quietly, long after the moment has passed. It's the chilling realization that comes not when she hurts a toxic man, not when she pushes away someone weak, but when she wounds a man who was truly good to her, a man who showed up, a man who cared, a man who listened, protected, supported, and loved without conditions. And the deepest fear she carries, the fear that creeps into her chest late at night, is this: what if the good man I hurt is gone forever? What if I pushed away the one person who actually meant it? Because a good man's silence is different. His distance is different. His absence is different. When a good man withdraws, the world around him doesn't rage, it goes still, and that stillness terrifies her, not because he's punishing her, but because he's finally done trying. A good man doesn't announce when he's reached his limit. He doesn't threaten to leave. He doesn't create dramatic exits. He simply stops giving the parts of himself she took for granted. His conversations grow shorter. His availability shrinks. His energy returns to himself. And the woman who once assumed he'd always forgive, always return, always stay, suddenly realizes she miscalculated his strength. Good men don't walk away in anger. They walk away in clarity. And clarity is irreversible. Before we dive deeper into why this fear hits women so profoundly, and why losing a good man shakes them more than they will ever admit, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on all notifications to become a Stoic soldier. And anchor today's message by dropping this empowering phrase in the comments: "My peace is my boundary." Because today, we're uncovering the quiet truth behind what women fear most after breaking a heart that once held nothing but pure intentions. Now, let's begin. The moment that shakes her the hardest is when she realizes, often too late, that good men don't do circles. They don't leave to get attention. They don't pull away to manipulate. They don't retreat to test her loyalty. A good man leaves because he finally understands the truth. His love is no longer being received with the respect it deserves, and that's the point of no return. At first, she thinks he's just hurt, that he'll calm down and come back the same way weaker men do. She assumes his kindness means softness, that his patience means he'll tolerate anything, that his heart makes him predictable. But then she sees something she never expected: a shift in his eyes, a steady calm in his tone, a new sense of direction in his energy. She realizes he isn't emotionally shaken. He's emotionally done. Good men don't walk away often because they don't love lightly. They invest deeply, they try sincerely, they give more chances than most deserve. But when their soul hits its limit, when their spirit finally says enough, their exit is permanent. She may send a message, she may test the waters, she may try to pull him back into old patterns. But the man she once knew doesn't respond the same way. His warmth has cooled, his attachment has dissolved, his availability has disappeared. That's when it hits her. He's not upset, he's finished. And that realization carries a weight she can't shake, because she didn't just lose a man, she lost a man who would have done anything for her. And that kind of loss is a pain she feels long after the moment passes. What she fears even more than losing him is losing everything that came with him. Because a good man doesn't just give love, he gives goodness, he gives loyalty, he gives patience, he gives emotional safety that money can't buy and looks can't replace. He gives a sense of home, a sense of calm, a sense of being genuinely cared for. When she loses a good man, she doesn't just lose a partner, she loses a sanctuary. And that loss hits in waves. She notices it the first time something goes wrong in her life, and he's no longer the person she can call. She notices it when someone else gives her attention, but the connection feels shallow, forced, or transactional. She notices it when she meets men who are cold, inconsistent, self-centered, or distracted, men who do the bare minimum, while he once gave the absolute best of himself without being asked. Goodness is a rare currency in this world, and she only realizes its value when it's gone. She remembers the way he listened, the way he reassured her when she doubted herself, the way he made her laugh on days she felt broken, the way he brought stability into moments of chaos. She remembers how easy it was to open up to him, how natural it felt to trust him, how safe she felt in his presence. And suddenly, she understands how much she lost. She didn't just lose a good man, she lost access to goodness itself. The very goodness she once believed would always be there. And that realization doesn't fade, it lingers, it aches, it haunts. Because deep down, she knows another man might replace his title, but no one will replace his heart. What women fear most after hurting a good man is not his anger, it's his silence. Because a good man's silence is never passive-aggressive, never manipulative, never a game. It's final. It means he has nothing left to give, nothing left to fight for, nothing left to explain. And that terrifies her in a way shouting never could. A man yelling is still emotionally involved. A man arguing is still trying to be understood. A man explaining himself still wants repair. But a man who goes quiet, a man who stops reacting, a man who steps back into himself with calmness and clarity, that's a man who has accepted the outcome. That's a man whose heart has closed on its own, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And that's the silence she fears most, because she knows she caused it. This silence is heavy, it's real, it's irreversible. It's the kind that doesn't come with a countdown, doesn't come with warnings, doesn't come with "let's talk later." It's a silence that settles into her world like a shadow, soft, dark, and undeniable. She checks her phone more often. She replays conversations in her mind. She tells herself he's just busy, even though she knows the truth deep down. She feels the absence of his good morning texts, his steady presence, his predictable kindness. And every hour that passes without a word from him confirms her worst fear. He meant it when he walked away. Because when a good man goes silent, he isn't punishing her. He's protecting himself, and she knows, whether she says it or not, that silence is the one wound she can't bandage, the one distance she can't close, and the one consequence she never expected him to enforce. There is a moment, a quiet, devastating moment, when she looks at him and realizes his eyes don't hold the same warmth they used to. His voice doesn't carry the same softness. His presence doesn't feel familiar anymore. And that moment hits her harder than anything else, the moment she sees him detach emotionally. Because emotional detachment from a good man is not dramatic. It's not loud. It's not vengeful. It's subtle, but unmistakable. He doesn't argue. He doesn't defend himself. He doesn't try to fix what's broken. He simply stops investing, stops reaching, stops offering the emotional depth she once swam in, and she feels that shift immediately, even when he says nothing. Her intuition catches what her pride tries to deny. The good man she once took for granted is slipping away quietly, and there's nothing she can do to stop it. This detachment is what terrifies her most, because it isn't temporary, it isn't a phase, it isn't a test, it's transformation. A good man's emotional withdrawal is the result of pain turning into clarity. It's the point where his heart stops hoping and starts healing. It's where his love stops flowing outward and returns inward. And when she witnesses this shift, this slow, steady dissolving of the bond she once relied on, panic settles in. Not the kind that causes chaos, but the kind that sits in her chest like a weight she can't push away. She remembers how deeply he cared. She remembers how safe she felt. She remembers the emotional certainty he provided, and as she watches him detach, she realizes the cruel truth. Once a good man's heart turns cold, it rarely warms back up for the person who froze it. That's the fear that follows her long after he's gone. One of the deepest fears a woman carries after hurting a good man is the fear of replacement, because she knows that when a good man finally detaches, he doesn't stay alone for long. And it's not because he's desperate, it's because his value is undeniable. His kindness, his stability, his depth, his emotional maturity, these are traits other women notice instantly, traits other women appreciate immediately, traits she once got effortlessly, but others would cherish with both hands. And that terrifies her, not because she thinks he'll jump into something new right away, but because she knows, deep in her gut, that once he gives his love to someone else, it will be better this time, stronger, healthier, more appreciated, more respected. She knows another woman will get the version of him she took for granted, and that truth burns in a way she can't admit out loud. She imagines him smiling differently, talking differently, treating another woman with the same gentleness she dismissed. She imagines another woman experiencing his patience, his loyalty, his softness, his consistency. And that's where her fear becomes overwhelming, because she knows a good man doesn't repeat his mistakes. He evolves, he learns, he chooses wiser next time. She doesn't just fear him loving someone else, she fears him loving someone else better. She fears seeing him healed in ways he couldn't heal with her. She fears watching him give another woman the version of himself that she never thought she'd lose. And the heartbreaking truth she tries to ignore is this: once a good man realizes his value, he becomes the kind of man every woman wants, except the one who lost him. That fear stays with her long after he's gone, after the dust settles, after the silence stretches, after the reality of his absence sinks in. Something else creeps into her mind, something heavier than regret, something sharper than sadness. Responsibility, accountability. The truth she tried to avoid now stands in front of her with no buffer, no excuse, no distraction. When a good man walks away, when his energy disappears, when his kindness is no longer available on demand, she finally has to face her own role in losing him. And that is a pain few women are prepared to confront. Because as long as he was still around, still caring, still hoping, she could tell herself a comforting story, that she didn't really hurt him, that he'd be fine, that he'd always come back. But when he leaves for real, that story collapses. She starts replaying the moments she dismissed him, the words she shouldn't have said, the disrespect she brushed off, the effort she didn't return. For the first time, she sees her actions without the safety net of his forgiveness. And with that clarity comes the kind of accountability that stings. She realizes she was loved unconditionally by a man who asked for little and gave much. She realizes she mistook his patience for passivity, his kindness for weakness, his consistency for neediness. She realizes she misread the value of a heart that was pure, steady, and loyal. And now that he's gone, she must sit with the uncomfortable truth. She lost him because of her choices, not his. That level of accountability is what haunts her. It forces her to confront patterns she has run from in every relationship before him. It exposes the emotional immaturity she hid behind confidence. It reveals the part of her that sabotages what is good because she never healed from what is broken, and she understands, painfully, silently, that losing a good man wasn't fate. It was her own doing. That realization is the kind of truth that leaves a mark. What women fear most after hurting a good man isn't always losing him in the moment. It's the long shadow that follows afterward. Because losing a good man leaves a mark on her reputation, not in a gossip sense, but in a spiritual, emotional, and psychological sense. She carries the knowledge with her, quietly, privately, that she lets something rare slip away. And every new man she meets, every new connection she entertains, every new relationship she tries to build, reminds her of what she had and how she mishandled it. She starts to see the difference between the men she encounters and the man she lost. She notices how other men don't listen the same way. They don't care the same way. They don't commit the same way. They don't have the depth, the patience, the emotional maturity he had. And while she may never say it out loud, her heart whispers it, "I messed up something real." This realization follows her into the future. It colors her expectations. It shapes her choices. It becomes a quiet ache she carries, because every time a man disappoints her, every time someone treats her casually, every time she encounters indifference or disrespect, she's reminded of the one man who didn't. And this becomes her internal reputation, the woman who ruined it with a genuinely good man. That label isn't spoken, but it lives in her. It's reflected in her regrets, in her comparisons, in her nightmares, in her prayers for another chance she knows won't come. Because once a good man leaves, once he evolves, once he becomes unavailable emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, she is forced to live with a truth that weighs more than any breakup. She became the villain in the story of the one man who would have given her the world. And that is a reputational burden she carries long after he's gone. One of the deepest fears a woman experiences after hurting a good man is watching him glow up, watching him evolve into a version of himself she never imagined, a version she never got to witness, a version she will never again have access to. Because when a good man is wounded, he doesn't stay broken. He rebuilds. He rediscovers his worth. He pours into his body, his purpose, his discipline, his ambitions. He climbs out of the pain with intention. And when he rises, he doesn't just heal, he transforms. His confidence sharpens, his boundaries strengthen, his standards increase. His energy shifts from giving too much to giving only to those who deserve it. And she sees all of it. Maybe not up close, maybe not through direct contact, but through the distance she once asked for. She sees the growth, she feels the elevation, she notices the glow, and it terrifies her. Not because she's jealous of his progress, but because she realizes his progress highlights everything she lost. She sees other women noticing him, women who recognize the value she overlooked. She sees him becoming happier without her, healthier without her, more stable without her. She sees him becoming the man she always wanted him to be, but now it's happening for someone else, for a future she's no longer a part of. And that's the fear that hits the deepest. The fear that her actions didn't just push him away, they pushed him into becoming the best version of himself after she was gone. She didn't just lose him, she lost the man he became. The man he should have been with her, but wasn't allowed to be. That glow-up becomes a silent reminder, echoing through her mind. He became the man I always needed, right after I broke him. And that is a fear she carries quietly, relentlessly, and forever. And now we reach the truth that cuts through every layer of this story, the truth women fear most after hurting a good man. Not that he's angry, not that he hates her, not that he wants revenge, but that he heals without her, that he finds himself, that he grows stronger, wiser, calmer, that he discovers a life where her presence is no longer needed, no longer missed, no longer part of his future. Because when a good man finally closes the chapter, he does it with a level of peace that feels irreversible. He doesn't look back. He doesn't reopen doors. He doesn't break his own heart trying to rewrite what already ended. A good man moves forward with grace, and that grace becomes the one thing she can never bargain with. That's what she fears most, the unshakable truth that she lost the kind of man who doesn't come twice in a lifetime. And if this message hit you, if it reminded you of your value, if it helped you remember the kind of heart you carry, then make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and turn on all notifications to become a Stoic soldier. And anchor today's lesson by dropping this final phrase in the comments: losing me is the lesson. Thank you for watching, brother. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and never regret walking away from someone who didn't honor the goodness you gave so freely.